In the early 1800s, the American bison, commonly known as buffalo, roamed in North America in large numbers, estimated to be around 40 million. Unfortunately, the population of these majestic animals has drastically declined, with them now being classified as a species near threatened by extinction. There are two species of bison, the other being the European bison, which are further divided into two subspecies, plains and wood bison. Despite their drastic decrease in population, the buffalo remain an iconic animal of the American plains, and their name is associated with mountains, rivers, sports teams, and cities. Here are 10 interesting facts about them. Number 1. Bison are surprisingly quick. Bison may look like they're just lumbering around, but they're actually pretty spry, able to go from 0 to 45 miles per hour in a split second and jump as high as 6 feet. Tourists often underestimate their speed and overestimate how chill they are, which is why they've caused so many injuries in Yellowstone. They may be herbivores, but they certainly know how to use their size and agility to defend themselves when they feel threatened. 2. They have extremely thick coats. Uniquely, bison are like the snuggliest of all winter coat brands, the ones that keep you so warm you don't even need to think about turning up the thermostat. Their coats are like 2 layers of fluffy, insulating fabric with a thick hide and coarse layer to protect them from cold and moisture, plus fine fibers that trap their air and warmth. They even have 10 times more hair per square inch than domestic cattle, so thick that the snow just sits there, refusing to melt. On particularly chilly days, they face the wind with their heads down, as if they're saying, "Bring it on, I've got the best winter coat money can buy." 3. Their ecosystem needs them. Bison are really the superheroes of the prairie. They graze native grasses, their hooves turn over the soil, and their droppings act as fertilizer. They even stir things up by wallowing around, helping to maintain insect populations. The prairie dogs and other animals appreciate bison too, as their presence makes it easier to spot predators. And to top it all off, the reintroduction of bison to the range has led to a comeback for at least one endangered butterfly species. Their grazing has created the perfect conditions for the plants these butterflies need to munch on. Who knew bison were so powerful? 4. They nearly became extinct. Back in the 1800s, the American bison were close to being completely wiped out, with a measly 325 left. It was mostly due to the settlers who thought it was cool to slaughter them, as well as their habitats being fenced off. Not to mention, their food source and other items were taken away as part of war tactics. To top it all off, diseases and drought weakened them even more, and wolves were ready to pounce on the opportunity. Fortunately, Yellowstone National Park was the one place that could be called the bison's saving grace, where they could roam freely since prehistoric times. Talk about a close call. 5. With that said, they are still considered ecologically extinct. It's a sad story, but the good news is that the number of American bison in free-ranging or managed conservation herds is stable as of 2020, estimating between 11,248 and 13,123 adult animals within that population. Sure, most of these bison don't live in herds large enough for long-term viability, so they're ecologically extinct. More like socially awkward than actually extinct, but at least they're still around. 6. They are the largest animal in North America. It's hard to wrap your head around how big bison are. A male bison can be as long as an average-sized family car and weigh more than a ton. Talk about an impressive bulk. Even the females are hefty, measuring up to over 10.5 feet long. And the wood bison subspecies takes the cake for size, with bulls weighing in at an insane 2,000 pounds. Who's ready for a bison riding adventure? 7. Their calves are magicians. No, they aren't magicians, but most bison these days aren't exactly purebred. Only around 8,000 individuals, or 1.6 of the species' total population, is free of any hybridization with cattle. As a result, you'll find bison calves of all different colors, from black and brown to, wait for it, white. Turns out that these white calves are actually pretty special. They can either be born as albino, pink eyes, leucistic, blue eyes, or simply with a genetically white coat. Plus, they're considered sacred by many indigenous folks in North America. Talk about a rare find. 8. Horns come equipped on both males and females. You can't tell the gender of a bison just by looking at their horns, but you can tell their age if you know what to look for. When they reach 2 years old, bison start to sprout horns, although they first look more like spikes than horns. As they get older, horns become grayer and start to curve upwards. After about 8 years, their horns start to get shorter and blunted. Kind of like when your grandma starts getting confused about the TV remote. 9. They have a unique sound. Despite their similarities to cows, bison definitely aren't as vocal. They don't moo, low, or even meow. Instead, they bellow, grunt, growl, and snort, sounding like a truck, a lawnmower, or a particularly grumpy pig. During rut or breeding season, bellowing is particularly common, and mothers can even communicate with their calves using snorts, growls, and rumbling alarm calls that sound like something out of a sci-fi movie. Finally, number 10. It's a tale of moods. When it's swaying back and forth like a windshield wiper, the bison is usually chill. But if its tail is up in the air like a flag on a pole, then it's probably time to start running. No matter the tail position, it's important to keep in mind that bison are wild and can charge without warning. Every year, there are lots of foolish folks who get too close to these enormous creatures and suffer the consequences. So if you're a fan of bison, it's best to admire them from afar. With all that said, it's clear that bison are truly amazing animals that deserve all the respect and admiration they can get. So let's take a moment to raise our horns in honor of these majestic creatures and the conservation efforts that have helped the population grow. Here's to the bison who have been around since prehistoric times and continue to roam the American plains. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content and you'd like to see more.